Please be seated. President Bollinger, on behalf of the Dean and the faculty and the class of 2012, I respectfully ask your permission to start this ceremony. President Bollinger, Provost Coatsworth, Vice President Dirks, Dean Valentini, Mr. MacArthur, honored participants, distinguished faculty, alumni, and guests. I'm proud to recognize the members of the class of 2012 and mark their shared and individual accomplishments in these Class Day exercises. It is now my honor to present to you the salutatorian for the Columbia College class of 2012, Zachary Levine.
Well, hello there. Wow. It is such an honor to stand before you, the Columbia College class of 2012. You know, when I first heard that I was salutatorian, I was told that I would get to sit on stage, and so naturally I got very excited. As you can tell, blue is my color. The next thing I was told was that I would have exactly 5 minutes to do justice to the unthinkable range of experiences and accomplishments and desires that the 1,085 of us graduating possess. Then I got a little nervous. Then I was told that no, don't worry, Zach, all you're expected to do is give a simple salutation. In other words, what I'm supposed to do in this speech is to orient these next few hours. And that's a fitting job, because what I want to focus on in this time is precisely orientation. I need to begin by acknowledging the source of our literal orientation here today. So I think we should pause and express our gratitude to the deans and Class Day staff who have set up this fantastic program. And to the professors who have helped make that program so meaningful to us today. I'd also like to take a moment in this speech to thank those individuals whose often thankless efforts are responsible for the stage that I'm standing on, the 5,000 seats you are seated in, and the maintenance of this beautiful campus. And their difficult and largely unrecognized efforts have made today's beautiful events possible for those of us privileged enough to attend. Class of 2012, we are here to celebrate your achievements. The amount you have collectively achieved in terms of service, activism, athletics, and academics is overwhelming. But what else have you achieved? In the words of one of my intellectual rock stars at Columbia, Elizabeth Pavanelli, you have to earn what you think. In other words, it's not enough to simply believe in a theorem or critical interpretation in the abstract, not enough to want to think the world a certain way. What we believe and know is dependent on how we were raised, relationships we formed, accomplishments and accidents and blessings that we've had along the way. Our interests and our orientations are things we achieve, sometimes in spite of ourselves. But if orientations are achievements, they're also openings. An orientation, a political interest, a research interest, an athletic passion, gives one access to new worlds of possibility. Of all the places that a queer white Jew from Fresno, California would find himself, yeah. Thank you. I chose to spend last summer in Lagos, Nigeria, studying evangelical Christianity. Nigeria. I was interested, my grant applications told me, in social conceptions of the miracle. But what does that mean, interested? Or for that matter, what had brought me the summer before, an interest in maternal public health, to Lima, Peru? I am not Christian or West African. I have not, at least not recently, experienced a miracle. And I'm not a mother or South American, though as an anthropologist, obviously I look amazing in alpaca. She's seen it, Sarah. At Columbia, I've had the blessing of so many professors in anthropology and African studies who have made my academic interests as illuminating as they were improbable. Yet what I'm most grateful for are not just the orientations I've acquired from my studies, but this city, this campus, and so many of you who have oriented me to feel comfortable in my own identity. I came out at Columbia, first at Lewiston Hall, just over there, and then behind you at John Jay Hall, where I made several phone calls during my first and second years, where I mumbled the news by phone to my closest friends and family. I spent so much of my adolescence nakedly seized of fear. I was disoriented, stuck, and I was made to know what kind of life that disorientation would resign me to. Disorientation, the Columbia community took that stilted adolescent and disoriented him in new and beautiful ways. The presence of a queer community on campus and of so many of you in the audience who have served as secret role models to me, these people made the disorientation of dizziness feel good and beautiful and uncomfortable in the best sense. Disorientation and the possibilities it generates. This is a familiar story to each of us. Most of us are caught in ongoing struggles with what it means to inhabit a position in the world that is kept in suspension and disallowed from going anywhere. These positions manifest as race, gender, sexuality, religion, class, body type, ability, and a slew of less noticeable ways in which we are made to feel oriented towards the wrong world or towards no world at all. As salutatorian, I'm supposed to help orient you towards the real world, but the Morningside Heights world we've lived in these last 4 years is just as real, just as disorienting, and consequently just as rich with possibility as whatever we imagine to sit beyond the 116th gates. Go to those worlds you have developed an interest in. Let them change you. I want to end by thanking those people who disorient me in the most loving ways and who nourish me despite, but also because of, the orientations I happen to hold. To my parents, who are out there somewhere, my brother, my extended family, and to all of my friends who let me settle in at home wherever I am. I want to dedicate this speech to two people. Were she still with us, my grandma Esther would probably be getting escorted out of her seat for cheering too loud. And to Sarah Camasholi, who I'm pretty sure actually is getting escorted out of her seat right now. Oh no, she's here. She's here, people. And to the rest of you, the Columbia College class of 2012, accept my warmest congratulations and best of luck as you go out and navigate those worlds you have come to be facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Zachary. Our keynote speaker this morning is the esteemed Columbia alumnus and current publisher and president of Harper's Magazine, John Rick MacArthur. In Mr. MacArthur's early career, he was an assistant foreign editor at United Press International and a reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times, the Virgin Record, and the Washington Star and the Wall Street Journal. Since 1983, he has served as president and publisher of Harper's Magazine, the oldest continuously published monthly magazine in America. Under his leadership, the magazine has received 18 National Magazine Awards, the industry's highest recognition. Mr. MacArthur has written several books, including Second Front, Censorship and Propaganda in the Gulf War, which won the Illinois American Civil Liberties Union 1992 Harry Calvin Freedom of Expression Award, and was a finalist for the 1993 McKinnon Award for Books. He founded and serves on the board of directors of the Death Penalty Information Center and the Roderick MacArthur Justice Center. And along with members of his family, he founded Article 19, the London-based International Center on Censorship. He is also on the board of directors of the Authors Guild and is a fellow at the New York Institute for Humanities. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming John Rick MacArthur.
President Bollinger, Provost Coatsworth, Vice President Dirks, Dean Valentini, members of the class of 2012 and their parents, honored guests. I realize that many among you are disappointed that I am not the President of the United States. I want you to know I share your disappointment. There was a time when I harbored ambitions of becoming president to fulfill the dream shared by so many young Americans so that I might leave my mark on history, bring peace where there was war, free the unjustly imprisoned, outmaneuver the leaders of other great nations, bask in the affection and admiration of my fellow citizens, and have my pick of college and university commencement venues. But then came a moment of profound disillusionment, a day of reckoning that changed the course of my life. It was sometime in the spring of 1975, late at night, and I was seated in the basement lounge of Carmen Hall, studying for my second round of final exams as a Columbia College freshman. I was wrestling with a book, The Marx Engels Reader, edited by Robert C. Tucker. But to be more precise, I was wrestling with a particular text within the anthology, Part 1 of the German Ideology, which Karl Marx apparently wrote alone, without the help of his collaborator Friedrich Engels. At 18 years of age, with the Cold War still very much in play, I was certainly aware of Marx's significance in history and contemporary politics. I also knew from Joseph Rothschild, my wonderful, cheerfully intimidating contemporary civilization professor, that I had better pay close attention to texts written by Germans. Rothschild was a Jewish refugee from Hitler's Germany, and he understood quite viscerally the power of words written in German, even German translated into English. So I was really trying to understand. But the German Ideology, Part 1, was more than I had bargained for. For those of you who've read it, I don't have to explain that this wasn't one of Marx's greatest hits. All those references to young Hegelians, old Hegelians, there didn't seem to be any middle-aged Hegelians. I had to keep referring back to Tucker's introduction to reassure myself that this really was the best way to understand the development of Marx's materialist conception of history. Not even published until 1932, this text, Tucker explained, was, and I quote, particularly valuable and important to the student of Marxist thought because Marx never again set down a comprehensive statement of his theory of history at such length and in such detail. Unquote. Be that as it may, there was no relief from Marx's bulky prose. I had to face his text alone, if not exactly man to man, then callow man to great man. And I found myself wanting. True, I'd been an outstanding president of my high school government. But now I had to ask myself, wouldn't a future president of the United States, like, say, the very well-read Dwight Eisenhower, be able to absorb, synthesize, explicate, and even refute the German Ideology, Part 1, no matter how difficult or elliptical the language? Yet what was I to make of this paragraph? For example, quote, the first premise of all human history is, of course, the existence of living human individuals. Thus, the first fact to be established is the physical organization of these individuals and their consequent relation to the rest of nature. Of course, We cannot here go either into the actual physical nature of man or into the natural conditions in which man finds himself, geological, orohydrographical, climate, and so on. The writing of history must always set out from these natural bases and their modification in the course of history through the action of men. Well, of course. This was the beginning of my disillusionment, the beginning of the end of my fantasies about holding great office, indeed of achieving greatness in any realm. With my intellectual vanity nearly crushed by this passage, I did what seemed to me the most logical thing to restore some sense of self-worth. I went to the dictionary and I looked up orohydrographical. And then I went back to the text, as I know all of you would do, and reread the whole damn thing. Now, I wouldn't want you to think that this raw encounter with Marx was negative. On the contrary, disillusionment, the discarding of illusions, is essential to any good education. I looked at my underlining the other day, and it confirms that I did get something out of the text. And I will tell you that Columbia, my engagement with the German ideology, Part 1, Professor Rothschild and his CC successor, Professor Robert Lamb, set me on a course that altered my life forever and for the better. But back then, on that spring night in 1975, weighed down by turgid text, what I really needed was a beer. Fortunately, things weren't all deadly world historically serious in 1975, just as they aren't in 2012. And fortunately, for every encounter with Marx, there were many more with better stylists and teachers who had more humanistic sensibilities. Once I'd finished struggling with the German ideology Part 1, it's likely I walked over to a crowded and noisy bar known as CDR, located in a basement on 119th between Amsterdam and Morningside, just to take the edge off my German Marxist gloom. Inside, I was likely to run into another German, much livelier than Marx, Professor Carl Ludwig Selig, Columbia's resident expert on Cervantes, and, as he insisted on pronouncing it, Don Quixote. Professor Selig often held court at CDR over multiple pitchers of Schaefer or Rheingold, and if you listened carefully to him above the din, you could learn a lot. By now, I knew I was supposed to engage deeply the text that Columbia was requiring me to read, but Selig made it sound enjoyable. He wanted you to embrace the text, to read it with rigor, but also with pleasure. However, like all of my best professors, Selig insisted that reading text was a fundamentally serious endeavor, that text must be respected. I'll never forget his remark about Spectator's April Fool's issues, one of which my managing board sneakily published on March 31st, 1977. The headline on our lead story was, "Kissinger named Food Services Chief, pledges sweeping reforms of cafeterias." Some of us worried that the joke was too heavy-handed. Henry Kissinger was just then the subject of a violent debate about whether he was morally or academically fit to teach at Columbia, and food services was embroiled in scandal. But Selig later told our managing editor, Dan Janison, that an alarming number of his colleagues had in fact been fooled. I wish I could do his German accent, but I can't. So many of our faculty are such poor readers of text, he lamented. I would not, I vowed, be such a poor reader of text, nor would I be a humorless or unemotional one. Happily, Marx's materialist view of history did not kill my interest in history itself or its literary and romantic possibilities. Among my compensations was a mesmerizing history of the lead-up to the Civil War and of the war itself, written by Alan Nevins, thanks to James Shenton, who had been Nevins' student at Columbia and subsequently was my professor and mentor, the ordeal of Marx's prose was more than mitigated by these passages from Volume 2 of Ordeal of the Union, Nevins' 8-volume masterwork. Here's Nevins describing Stephen Douglas, a man who badly wanted to be president and didn't make the cut on the Butler Library Wall of Fame, and his reaction to the abolitionist Salmon Chase during the Senate debate in 1854 over the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Quote, Chase's attack seemed to him a dastardly blow because it accused him of selling his honor for the hope of the presidency, because it stigmatized him as a cheat and a liar. Quivering with rage, he rose in the Senate on January 30th to open the formal debate. Day after day, Douglas was in his seat when the session began and still there when it ended. Week in and week out, his quick, piercing eyes watched every move with tigerish intentness. When a stroke was needed, he was on his feet, tossing his mass of dark hair like a lion's mane and scowling at his enemies, unquote. 2 years later, with violence breaking out in Kansas, Lincoln's great rival is forced to defend the tinderbox he helped create in the name of saving the Union. He's still trying to have it both ways. Popular sovereignty, yes, but at the cost of preserving slavery. Here, Nevins attains a brilliant level of insight about Douglas. Quote, alert in retort, crafty in the manipulation of argument, redoubtable and unscrupulous in attack, he seemed momentarily to sweep all opposition before him, yet he never quite convinced wary men, for his ideas lacked deep sincerity, and his manners had always the touch of the barroom. He seemed dazzling until men could think over his arguments, unquote. As my late friend Walter Karp, valedictorian of the Columbia College of Class of 1955, would have said of Nevins, no dead sentences. Not one dead sentence. Reading Nevins' book in the college library one night, I wondered, could I ever hope to write this well, to know so much and think so clearly? Almost certainly not, but at least I was beginning to know my limits and something about my ambition to expand my limits. Gazing upward at the great Allen Nevins on the shelves of Butler, the scales began falling from my eyes, which is a very important feature of disillusionment. I was beginning to learn how to read, which brings me to the point I want to make to you, the class of 2012. I didn't tell these stories to try to make you nostalgic for a golden age before text became a verb, or to comfort myself in middle age. As historian Andrew Bacevich writes in the current Harper's Magazine, with reference to Robert Kagan's new book, all so-called golden ages should be viewed with the greatest skepticism. Kagan's book argues that post-war American power has engendered a golden age for humanity and that the United States is not in decline. Bacevich believes this is a fairy tale, as much a fairy tale as so-called American exceptionalism. However, I do believe there is something exceptional about Columbia College, and I hope it's something you'll hang on to after I'm finished talking. Besides being publisher of Harper's Magazine and writing books, I occasionally review them, including the most complete biography to date of yesterday's Barnard commencement speaker. To help illustrate my point, let's do a close reading of one passage from this book by New Yorker editor David Remnick. We learned that in his senior year at Columbia, Barack Obama took a modern fiction course with Edward Said, who until his death in 2003 was university professor of English and comparative literature. My reading of this text leads me to believe that Remnick's account of Barack Obama's life was authorized by its subject, that most of what's in it is there because the president wanted it there. Remnick offers this description of Said and Obama's feelings about his English professor, quote, best known for his advocacy of the Palestinian cause, and his academic excoriation of the Eurocentric Orientalism practiced by Western authors and scholars, Said had done important work in literary criticism and theory. And yet, Said's theoretical approach in the course left Obama cold, unquote. Remnick then quotes a friend of Obama's who also took the course, quote, "My whole thing," and Barack had a similar view, "was that we would rather read Shakespeare's plays than the criticism. Said was more interested in the literary theory, which didn't appeal to Barack or me." According to Remnick, the young Obama referred to Said as a flake. Stay with me. We're analyzing text. Although I agree that it's usually better to read the original than a criticism of the original, this is a misreading of Said. Edward Said was many things: a lover of literature, a fearsome and inspiring teacher, a politically engaged public intellectual, a humanist, but most pertinent to this speech, an extraordinarily rigorous reader and teacher of text. On at least one occasion, he threw a student out of class for not knowing the definition of a word, and he never went into class less than completely prepared. The last extended conversation I had with him was in his apartment on Riverside Drive. We talked not about Middle Eastern politics, but about Stendhal's Charterhouse of Parma and its wily and seductive female protagonist, Gina Sanseverina. "Ah, Gina," he said with appreciation and feeling, as if he had known her personally. Although a great many people disliked him for reading too carefully and talking too loudly, to dismiss Said as an eccentric critic mostly interested in theory, more interested in criticizing a text than reading and enjoying a story, is to miss the mark, perhaps for political reasons, if indeed this passage is accurate. But please stay with me and the closed caption text just a little longer. As Said wrote in Orientalism, quote, "No one has ever devised a method for detaching the scholar from the circumstances of life, from the fact of his involvement, conscious or unconscious, with a class, a set of beliefs, a social position, or from the mere activity of being a member of society," unquote. This is what we call context, which is essential to understanding text. You may know that Said's three most influential books are Orientalism, covering Islam, and Culture and Imperialism, all of which deal with Western stereotypes and caricatures of the Orient and of Islam, of Arabs and Persians. As a Protestant baptized and educated Palestinian American who attended British colonial and then American schools, Said was himself decontextualized as an Arab, permanently out of place, as he titled his autobiography. Said's sense of deracination, of never quite knowing where he came from, is something Barack Obama should know all about. Of course, the president doesn't have to admit an emotional affinity, which I understand could be politically dangerous. He's already been forced by too many idiots to waste too much time proving he was born in the United States. But is it too much to ask anyone concerned with our Middle Eastern policy to read Said's trilogy? That is, before they encourage a military attack on Iran by proxies, be they French, Israeli, British, or Saudi Arabian. Wouldn't it be truly audacious if Barack Obama, class of 1983, had done a close enough reading of the three Orientalism texts with their subtext of humiliation endured by colonized peoples, to cite them as a reason for his praiseworthy reluctance to move from sanctions to violence? That before he wastes one more life, one more dollar in Islamic Afghanistan, Obama showed some interest in his old professor instead of reading the dubious Robert Kagan. And furthermore, that the President of the United States consider following the fine example of the President of Columbia University and be willing to meet with Iran's, shall we say, flaky President Ahmadinejad. After all, Obama has already visited another religiously intolerant abettor of terrorists and officially anti-Israel head of state, King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia. But here's the good and useful thing about reading text in a serious way, considering it both at face value and in context. I suspect that President Obama has read the Orientalism trilogy, but just doesn't want to advertise it. And my own reporting, my own reading, my own analysis suggests that he did not, in fact, consider Edward Said a flake, because the grown-up Obama is a serious, intelligent person who attended Columbia College, where he learned how to read past the obvious and the superficial. My hope is that none of you seniors would shrink from such a reading assignment or such a political risk because of your exceptional Columbia College education. Your training in directly engaging the author and never hiding behind someone else's interpretation of the text or of the writer's reputation. My advice to all of you today, poet or scientist, is to absorb, to question, to challenge, to refute any author on any subject, or for that matter, any politician or commencement speaker. You may disagree with me that your sovereignty as citizens has been largely stolen by the political and financial oligarchy that I believe rules this country. You may disagree that your Constitution, literally and in spirit, has been gravely violated by the previous and current administrations, that the so-called suspension clause of our founding text concerning habeas corpus has been abused, twisted, and stretched. But I trust that as Columbia intellectuals, mercifully free of received wisdom, resistant to cant, confident in your own skill as readers, you'll all agree with Edward Said's summary of your responsibilities and your rights. Quote, "The role of the intellectual is to ask questions, to disturb people, to stir up reflection, to provoke controversy and thought. The role of the intellectual is never to justify power, to always be critical of power, whether it is the power of the weak or the power of the strong. The role of the intellectual is to challenge power by providing alternative models and, also as important, resources of hope," unquote. I would only add that the role of an intellectual, a Columbia intellectual, is to be prepared to tackle any text. Thank you and congratulations. I'm deeply honored to be your speaker, so much so that I will join you all here tomorrow for President Bollinger's commencement address.
Thank you, Mr. MacArthur. In each class, there are men and women who distinguish themselves and their school through superior academic accomplishments and service to others. Over the past few weeks, we have recognized students who have been particularly gracious with their time and talents, and in doing so have in so many ways enhanced the Columbia community. At this time, while all those students who received academic departmental awards, athletic awards, were selected as senior marshals, or were honored at the King's Crown Leadership Awards dinner or other celebrations, please stand to be recognized. Thank you for everything you've done for the community. It is now my pleasure to present the final awards on behalf of Columbia College. The Edward S. Brainerd Memorial Prize. is awarded annually to the member of the graduating class who is judged by his or her classmates to be the most worthy of distinction for qualities of mind and character. The 2012 recipient is Eric Nook. The Charles M. Roker Prize is awarded annually to the member of the graduating class who is judged by his or her classmates to be worthy of special distinction for scholarship, participation in student activities, or preeminence in athletics or any combination of these. The prize was established by Miss M. Roker in memory of her son Charles for the class of 1907. The 2012 recipient is Elizabeth Kipjusti. The Charles H. B. Workwall Prize is awarded annually to the member of the graduating class for unselfish service to the college community. The prize was established by Otto Emma B. Workwall in memory of her brother, Charles B. Workwall. The 2012 recipient is Amira Shikwara. The Columbia College Scholar Athlete Award is presented by the Office of the Dean to the graduating student who has distinguished himself or herself as a varsity athlete and scholar. This year, the award is given to Cindy Chen. I'd now like to invite Catherine Yatrakis, Dean of Academic Affairs, to present the recipients of this year's academic awards. Dean Yatrakis.
Congratulations. It is now my honor, on behalf of the Columbia College faculty, the Albert Asher Green Memorial Award, the David B. Truman Alumni Award, and honors of valedictorian and salutatorian. Established by Mr. and Mrs. Asher Green in memory of their son, Albert Asher Green, class of 1914, the Albert Asher Green Memorial Award is presented to the senior who has been in good standing for at least 3 years and who has made a record of scholarship. Translated, that means the student with the highest grade point average. Don't all rush up. The 2012 recipient is Emmeline Lee. Established in honor of a beloved dean, former dean of the college, David B. Truman, the David B. Truman Alumni Award is awarded to the senior who has made the most distinguished contribution to the academic affairs of the college. The 2012 recipient is Rhonda Shafi. From among those students with the highest grade point average, the valedictorian and salutatorian are selected by the Faculty Committee on Honors, Awards, and Prizes on the basis of faculty recommendations regarding the strength, breadth, depth, and rigor of their academic achievements, as well as on the evidence of their intellectual promise, character, and achievement outside of the classroom. And I'm pleased to present to you the valedictorian for the class of 2012, who is Zachary Brill. And to acknowledge, again, the salutatorian for the class of 2012, Zachary Levine. I would like now to call forward Kira Tirana Barry, graduate of the Columbia College class of 1987 and the current president of the Columbia College Alumni Association. Ms. Barry graduated from Columbia College in 1987 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Urban Studies. For more than a decade, Ms. Barry was engaged with public transportation policy and government relations with the New York City Mayor's Office, the New York Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Today, in addition to raising 3 children, she runs 2 youth sports organizations, Hoboken Travel Soccer and New York City's Beat the Streets Wrestling Organization. Please join me in welcoming Kira Tirana Barry.
Good morning, class of 2012, and welcome guests. On behalf of the more than 45,000 members of the Columbia College Alumni Association, congratulations. I am thrilled to formally welcome you into the Alumni Association. Exactly 25 years ago, I sat in your seat. Much has changed in these 25 years, but for many of us, our Columbia experience is just as full and rich as it was when we were students. In 1987, the first fully coeducational class was graduating from the college. Personal computers had just been introduced. Imagine typewriters. Career education consisted of flipping through binders of job postings, and our graduation was held in the gym. And it rained. At the same time, just as much hasn't changed since I first arrived in Morningside Heights. There is still a governor named Cuomo. We all progress through the core curriculum. We read the great books, look at the art that helps define and explain our world, and listen to music that has traveled centuries. We are taught and challenged by an incredible faculty. We throw ourselves into an increasingly broad array of courses and subject matter. We debate ideas. We sit on the steps under alma mater. This shared experience connects us deeply. Our Columbia experience is very powerful. It spans the years and the generations. You are now connected for life to an amazing group of individuals from around the country and the world. While you've spent the last 4 years with a few thousand, today your community expands into the tens of thousands. College alumni welcome you. They will want to know if you lived in Carmen or John Jay. Did you prefer Lit Hum or CC? Even among your classmates, there are some you will really only get to know in 10 or 15 years, or even further out. Columbia alumni value their Columbia experience. They want to share that with the students who came after them. Seek out those alumni, adopt them as mentors, and stay engaged. Class of 2012, you have already influenced the experience for the students after you. You met Dean Valentini's 3-2-1 challenge. You changed the conversation. I expect no less from you as young alumni. Take that role just as seriously. Be an active member of the College Young Alumni Association. Expand it, make it yours. Volunteer to interview prospective students. Become a class agent. Talk to us. Let us know what you want. Help us shape your Columbia. Long and deep alumni connections make Columbia what it is today. Alumni serve to continually strengthen the college and better students' experience. We also enrich our own lives, professionally and personally, by being an active member of the Columbia community. So on behalf of the Columbia College alumni leadership and Columbia alumni around the globe, let me again welcome you. I hope to see you soon and often. It is now my honor to present 3 awards on behalf of the Columbia College Alumni Association. The Alumni Prize is awarded annually to the senior judged by classmates to be the most faithful and deserving. This year, the prize is awarded to Mark Hay. The Robert Lincoln Carey Memorial Prize is awarded to the senior who, through a combination of leadership qualities, as exercised in the non-athletic extracurricular program of Columbia College and outstanding achievement in the academic program of the college, best exemplifies the ideals which Robert Lincoln Carey sought to engender in the students of Columbia College. This year, the prize is awarded to Emily Nagel. The Alumni Association Achievement Award is awarded to the senior who is judged to be the most outstanding for qualities of mind, character, and service to the college. This year, the award is presented to Charles Roberts. Congratulations on your achievements and congratulations to all of the class of 2012. It is now my pleasure to introduce James Valentini, Interim Dean of Columbia College and Vice President for Undergraduate Education. A member of Columbia's faculty since 1990, Dean Valentini has led Columbia's chemistry department as chair and served as director of the chemistry department's undergraduate studies program, summer session chemistry program, and National Science Foundation's research experience for undergraduates program. Most importantly, he has been dedicated to teaching many undergraduate and graduate chemistry lecture courses, has developed and taught research seminars for first-year students and seniors, and recently designed the course Energy and Energy Conservation for the core science requirement. Dean Valentini is a longtime supporter of Columbia College and has worked on many university committees and with many other groups on curricular matters, undergraduate affairs, faculty governance, and tenure. Dean Valentini is unquestionably dedicated to the college and the students at the college. Please join me in welcoming Dean Valentini.
Thank you. President Bollinger, trustees of the university, Provost Coatsworth, Vice President Dirks, faculty colleagues, Mr. MacArthur, Ms. Berry, members of the class of 1962, family and friends, welcome to Class Day for the Columbia College class of 2012. Class of 2012, I have measured your accomplishments, and they are 1,351, 124, and 1. 1,351 days since your first day of classes in September 2008, 124 credits needed for graduation, and 1 swim test. There is a fourth important number, 46,043 living alumni of Columbia College. Tomorrow you join them to make that 47,175. Last year, an American auto manufacturer began using the tagline, "The things we make us." A chemist would say that sentence has a plane of symmetry. I would say it describes us as well. At Columbia, we are not manufacturers, but we do forge citizens, scholars, scientists, artists, writers, and leaders. It is those 47,175 former students in whom we take pride of ownership and who make our reputation, who make us as an institution. Your achievements are our achievements. They do indeed make us. Gary Trudeau said that commencement speeches were invented largely in the belief that outgoing college students should never be released into the world until they have been properly sedated. Columbia College students do not wish to be sedated, and I do not wish to offer a sedative. Rather, I want to offer a genuine challenge, a simple guide, and a gentle reminder. Life has many transitions, but the transition from college student to college graduate is a very special one. It is the occasion for celebration of achievement, but also carries with it the pain of separation and departure. It is, if not in actual substance, at least in symbol, the entry to adulthood. My challenge to you as you enter that adulthood derives from an assessment of George Bernard Shaw. Shaw said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." I urge you to be that unreasonable man or unreasonable woman in matters large and small, but recognize that others may be aiming for the same. Recognize that you will not be the only unreasonable man or woman, so respect the designs for progress that others may produce and be prepared always to defend your unreasonableness with reason and logic. Rick MacArthur has been such an unreasonable man. I know you can be that too. You have been the best of unreasonable during my 9 months as dean. And you can tell if you have been unreasonable if you can write in your blog, in your senior wisdom on blog, as Amira did Dean Teeney called me a pain in the, I can't finish that. I actually didn't, but I thought it. It is a staple of commencement ceremonies to express our belief that all of you will do great things. But the weight of such grand and fundamentally unrealistic expectations can be oppressive. My guide to you is without expectations. It does not presume an outcome, but does indeed assume an effort. It is a very simple guide, a 6-word valedictory that I offered to each of my 3 sons as they left the house each day. Work hard, try hard, play hard. The play hard there is fully considered. I want you to do something you probably have not done enough of while you were here. Have fun. Apprehending your future, you are likely planning your moves, calculating your options, and plotting your trajectory. I know you are good at that. It got you into Columbia College, and it got you through Columbia College. That plotting, however, treats your life as if it were a ball in flight in a physics textbook problem, a parabolic path entirely predictable from the initial conditions. But I suspect that if you ask the members of the class of 1962 who are here today about the predictability of life, they will smile a patient, understanding, but bemused smile, and then tell you about the entirely unpredictable trajectories of their own lives. So my gentle reminder to you is this: life's an adventure. Enjoy the ride. Congratulations to all of you, to your families, and your professors. Take pride in being graduates of the greatest college, in the greatest university, in the greatest city in the world. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce Lee C. Bollinger, President of Columbia University. Professor Bollinger has been president of Columbia University for 3,636 days. A leading First Amendment scholar, he has written about freedom of speech and the press and currently serves on the faculty of Columbia Law School. He is also a dedicated teacher of undergraduates, offering his freedom of speech and press course each year to large and enthusiastic enrollments. President Bollinger is an imaginative and ambitious leader who launched the largest capital campaign in Columbia's history, a campaign that surpassed its initial $4 billion goal and now is heading toward $5 billion. With Manhattanville, he has implemented Columbia's most ambitious campus expansion since the university came to Morningside Heights. President Bollinger has also guided Columbia to becoming a truly global university with global centers in Paris, Istanbul, Nairobi, Amman, Mumbai, Beijing, and most recently, Santiago. They allow me to say to prospective students that College Walk extends not from Amsterdam Avenue to Broadway, but all the way around the world. In one of our weekly conversations, he emphasized to me his view of the necessity of knowing something about geography to be able to understand economics, politics, and global society. With that in mind, I will tell you that he grew up in Baker, Oregon, 2,599 miles from Low Library, at 46 degrees, 40 minutes north latitude, 117 degrees, 50 minutes west longitude. that is in eastern Oregon in a valley between the Wallowa Mountains to the east and the Elkhorn Mountains to the west. Since I didn't get to teach a course this year, I thought I had to redeem myself by having one brief lesson, even if in a subject matter about which I know absolutely nothing. I will ask our 1,132 graduate hopefuls to give President Bollinger a very warm welcome, reminding them that their graduation isn't official until and unless he tells them tomorrow that they have been admitted, quote, to the degree for which you have qualified. Please join me in welcoming President Bollinger.
Thank you very much, Jim. I want to welcome the families and the parents of the graduates. We very much appreciate your being here and letting us have your children for these 4 years. I have my opportunity to speak to you, the graduates, and your fellow graduates at the university commencement ceremony tomorrow. So I don't want to take away your opportunity to hear other speakers today. I will be succinct, and I just want to say a few words directly to the graduates. Everyone remembers their graduation. It's a time of great personal change and a highlighted moment in an era in which you live. My wife of 44 years and I graduated in 1968. We got married immediately and moved here to Columbia. It was, of course, a time of great, significant social transformation. It was a period defined by a seemingly endless war, as now, and by conflicts over how to bring the nation closer to its ideals. To me, at that time, everything was refracted through the prism of law, and especially the Constitution, and I wanted to be part of it. Today, it seems to me you graduate at a time every bit as perplexing as then, and even more momentous. The work still needed here at home is clear enough, but now the problems are increasingly how to create a workable global society with an economy that doesn't collapse every 5 to 10 years, that distributes its prosperity fairly, that brings comfort to the sick and the poor, and that doesn't deplete the world's resources. We have to create the first ever system of global communication, and we have to find common purpose with peoples and cultures with different and sometimes very different ways of life and perspectives. From the standpoint of challenges, it's exhilarating, actually, and you must feel it every bit as much as I did when I arrived in New York City and set out on my life. When I was in college, I remember thinking I had to make up for the fact that there were people like you who were getting a very special education in the foundations of human thought. So I set out on my own to read every great work. It was my own core curriculum, as I'm sure is true of others here. That, together with the other things I began to learn, has been truly the foundation I return to every day of my life. And so will you in the years ahead, better prepared than almost anyone else on the planet. Good luck in those exciting years ahead, and thank you for reminding each of us what graduation means in our own lives. Congratulations, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, President Bollinger. It is now my pleasure to introduce the co-chairs of the class of the 2012 Senior Fund Committee, Stephanie Foster and Jake Gorin. They'll also be joined by their vice chairs of the committee.
Thank you, Dean Schollenberger. First of all, congratulations, class of 2012. It is truly an honor to be standing in front of such an accomplished and talented group of people. Today, Jake and I are very excited to announce that more than 770 members of our graduating class have given to the Senior Fund, raising a total of $16,860 for our class's gift to the Columbia College Fund. We have exceeded our goal of 750 donors, qualifying us for an extremely generous $100,000 matching gift from Charles Santoro, Columbia College class of 1982.
This gift represents our first opportunity to come together as a class to give back to Columbia College as our way of saying thank you. Thank you for allowing us to debate in literature humanities and study with our floor in John Jay and Carmen. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to read from Plato to Darwin in contemporary civilization and socialize in Butler. Thank you. Thank you for a diverse campus that enriched our experience at every level. Thank you for free access to the Metropolitan Museum of Art so it could serve as our art humanities textbook. Thank you, Columbia, for 4 unforgettable years.
But our exciting news does not end there. This year, we added a new element to our campaign, Dean Valentini's now well-known 3-2-1 challenge. Today, we are proud to announce that 235 members of our class have opted into this program, pledging to give for 3 years, convincing 2 friends, and having their gifts generously matched 1-to-1 by Gene Davis, Columbia College class of 1975. This has exceeded our goal of 200 participants in the 3-2-1 program and will ensure that our class will have the highest participation as first-year alumni of any graduating class in Columbia College history.
This record-breaking achievement would not have been possible without the help of Dean Valentini, whom we thank for generously matching all donations made in the first week of our solicitations, a total of more than $4,000. We would also like to thank the Dean of Student Affairs Office, the Columbia College Office of Alumni Affairs and Development, the 25 members of the Senior Fund Committee, and the 12 vice chairs of the Executive Committee, Sarah Avalone, Shiva Datwani, Jason Hahn, Ashwini Kadaba, Brittany Nagel, Nagin Nawab, Anshit Nair, Cindy Pan, Brandy Rip, Emily Tampkin, Anthony Testa, and Brandon Thompson. Their love for Columbia and passionate determination to make this year's Senior Fund a success were invaluable.
The sum total of our campaign, including both our class's donations and the various matching gifts we received, has brought more than $130,000 to the Columbia College Fund. This is a momentous achievement. But fellow members of the class of 2012, we must remember that today is not our last as Columbians. The experiences that we've had here and friendships we've made will last our entire lives. And it is our greatest hope that our commitment to Columbia will last as well. Through sustained support of our alma mater, we will ensure that the opportunities we've enjoyed will continue to define the Columbia experience.
Dean Valentini, it is an honor to present you with this scroll and book, on which you will find the names of the 774 members of the class of 2012 who have given to the Senior Fund, and in which you will find the signatures of the 235 members of the class of 2012 who have committed to your 321 challenge. Thank you again, class of 2012, and best of luck with whatever your future may hold. Congratulations.
So welcome your class president, Sarah Chai.
Thank you, Dean Schollenberger. On behalf of the senior class, I would like to thank the faculty, staff, alumni, and our beloved family members and friends for gathering here today to celebrate the accomplishments of my fellow classmates, the amazing graduating Columbia College class of 2012. Believe it or not, I didn't have my first slice of Coronet's pizza until the end of my sophomore year here at Columbia. And for those parents wondering what Coronet's is, well, it's where we usually went after a really intense night of studying. So anyways, after a few hours of karaoke at Herald Square with friends who have since then become my best friends, we ended up at the popular Columbia Eatery, where I ordered a slice of cheese pizza and doused it with copious amounts of garlic and red pepper. It was the cheesiest, greasiest, most delicious pizza I had ever tasted. To be frank, I had never been a huge pizza fan, so before that night, I had no desire to try something that seemed so plain and cliche. But if Columbia has taught me anything, it's that oftentimes, those experiences that surprise you, the experiences not advertised by admissions officers or dreamt about by incoming students, are the ones that are the most quintessentially Columbian, the ones that help form who I've become today. Class of 2012. Look back and think about the first time you tried a slice of Coronet's pizza or a spicy special, the first time you had a snowball fight with your John Jay, Carmen, Fernald, or LLC floor, the first time you pulled an all-nighter in Butler, the first time you went out on a Wednesday night. Columbia has undoubtedly been a place of many firsts for us. Whether it's been the perpetual novelty of living in one of the most illustrious cities in the world, or of being surrounded by dauntingly talented and incredibly intelligent peers and professors. Through these unique experiences, we have forged lasting friendships and have been forced to evaluate our beliefs, to defend or to reconsider them. Through the company of new friends, we have uncovered more about ourselves during our time here than we may have ever learned without each other. Thankfully, as many of you well know, Columbia and New York City provide ample room and encouragement for these firsts to continue throughout the entire four-year process. Just last fall, my best friend and I attended a breathtaking Astor Piazzolla tribute concert at Jazz at Lincoln Center for a music class, my first jazz concert. When I came back to my residence hall, I was pleasantly surprised by how quickly my concert analysis seemed to write itself, me who knew next to nothing about jazz. Our professors have challenged us to explore New York City and the world around us, and our classroom discussions have equipped us with the tools to meaningfully and thoughtfully form opinions on subjects once foreign to us. While I am forever indebted to my ever-supportive mom, dad, to younger brothers and friends back home for keeping me anchored, it's through Columbia that I've learned to embrace inquiry and change. While many of us are physically leaving Columbia after today, we are all exiting those Broadway and 116th Street gates with a part of this institution, whether we know it or not. We're leaving with the courage to explore and to discover, as well as the conviction to challenge the known and consider the unknown. Whether it's sampling a new food or viewing a performance from a nuanced perspective, let your spark of curiosity grow and continue to seek out of the ordinary experiences. But remember that it's the people you met here at Columbia who have helped shape you into an even more incredible person than you were when you first came to Morningside Heights. I know that my college experience is that much more precious because of the relationships I've been lucky enough to have formed with my freshman year John Jay 12 floor mates, with my fellow student council members, with my archery teammates, and with my sorority sisters. The people we've encountered here will, from this day forward, now be those anchors who will keep us rooted as we continue to take chances and to take charge, whether it's in starting a new stage of life or just in trying a slice of pizza the size of your head. Congratulations, class of 2012.
Thank you, Sarah. At this time, each graduate will be invited to the stage for recognition. With us today are alumni representatives celebrating their 50th reunion year. They will present each member of the class of 2012 with an alumni pin on behalf of the Columbia College Alumni Association. Please join me in recognizing the members of the class of 1962. I ask that you please refrain from applause until all members of the class have been congratulated by Dean Valentini and President Bollinger and return to their seats.
Sarah Chai. Janelle Green. Khalil Zua Romaine. Sarah Dion. Dakota Ward. Zachary Levine. Zachary Brill. Jacob Gorin, Jeffrey Stern, Virat Gupta, Rohit Iragavarapu, Jason Mogan, Chloe Oliver, Michelle Abel Hakoba, Alexander Froman, Akito Terasaki, Andrew Wynn, Wen Liu, Murnal Mohanka, Rhonda Shafi, Inameka Ukwelam, Barry Weinberg, Derek Turner, Sarah New, Daro Baruzzi, Gabrielle Marks, Connor Spahn, Zachary Glubiak, Matt Getz, Akornafa Achia, Alisa Funderburk, Belinda Shao, Juliet Savitz, Cindy Pan, Ashwini Kadaba, Nagin Nawab, Sarah Avalone, Brittany Nagel, Stephanie Foster, Mark Hay, Amira Sukwara, Emily Nagel, Charles Roberts, Elizabeth Kipjusti, Eric Nook, Cindy Chen, Emmeline Lee, Emily Tamkin, Brandy Rip, Samuel Klug, Madeline Joseph, Alana Schwartz, Samuel Roth, Randy Subramani, Anushka Vaswani, Brandon Thompson, Anthony John Testa, Shiva Dutwani, Anshit Nayar, Jason Hahn, Allison Hard, Jasmine Senior, Ganiatu Afolabi, Ren McKnight, Alexandra Quigley, Claudia Sosa Lazo, Rachel Elliott, Peng Dung, Kevin Cabrera, Fernando Rios, David Strouch, Travis Alvarez, Jose Delgado, Kevin Gould, Sarah Camasholi, Andrea Folds, Leah Greenbaum, Sam Levin, Rebecca Rohrer, Simas Glinskis, Catherine Swinar, Mason Fitch, Daniel Salvador Alonso, Leanne Seema Flahan, Annika Dunbar Gronke, Richard Falk Wallace, Sumith Rastogi, Daniel Reef, John Bailey, Chester Doles, Raymond Diaz, Susan Thomas, Sydney Schaefer, Daniel Campos, Alexander Bradford Martin, Emma Draper Reich, Vincente Sanchez, Mikhail Victor Kaufman, Christine Jordan,
Maximilian Ivan Silver, Alexandra Ryan Gutentag, Zara Hashmi, Theo Di Castri, Dia Yost, Jesse Siobhan, Ian Scheffler, Alexandra Liu, Catherine Mass, Nicole Stanciola Zebede, Shanta Foster, Vivian Luo, Ariana Berenson, Alice Butera, Ernesto Hernandez, Paula Gergen, Sarah Ahmed, Malcolm Colton, Eric Lawrence Walter, Alexander Lewis, Colin Kinnenberg, Natalie Shibley, Sean Zurar, Brian Marcus, Brandon Christoph, Robert McMahon, Christopher Davidson, Dominic Condello, Harrison Zoberotto, Max Estevez, Alexandra Powell, Sarusha Miri, Charles McBain, Zahil Gupta, Bogdan Doicescu, Elizabeth Lucero, Amanda Cormier, Salomea Sopko, Devin Brisky, Maria Antigua, Lisbeth Santana, Rolando Rodriguez, Stephanie Carvajal, Yerson Arvelo, Manuel Omar Pineiro, Joanna Miele, Cristina Ortiz, Gabrielle Yo, Margot Morel, Eilul Kayin, Kylie Rogers, Shreya Agarwal, Nikita Manilal, Richard Hrang, Rishi Kodali, Thomas Capusta, Michael Abraham, Michael Gabriel Newman, Daniel Weinstein, John Goodwin, Stephen Devan, Cody Hefner, Genevieve Guevara, Jessica Coppola, Cornelia Wolf Wilson, Dang Feng Wu, Jennifer Lee, Nina Bakurinao, Hong Kong Nguyen, Siyi Shi, Francisca Ruffin, Brian Laperche, Matthew Starr, Meredith Kirk, Alexa Goldson, Carla Casariego, Catherine Marshall, Brittany Edmondson, William Leonard, Donya Abdelaziz, Shalini Thareja, Alana Tong, Elizabeth Chu, Lisa Lian, Natalie Lowe, Carlos Javier Barcelon, Simon Herzog, Tiffany Lee, Shoko Okuda, Sue-Ann Lim, Keith Miao, David Winglung Eng, Gavin Newton Tanzer, Aaron Kirsch, Melissa Bermudez, Stephanie Tekka, Renuka Agarwal, Chanel Soto, Nidhi Hebar, Sanjeev Mehta, Alexander Millet, Sahil Patel, Andrea Gabriele, Mario Gabriele, Rajiv Debsen, Andrew Grant, Lena Bell, Haig Schneiderman, Wen, Brendan Lin, Hannah Lehman,
Jacob Lasser, Moira Smalley, David Sacconi, Brianna Morgan, Randall Scott, James Diote, Syed Hussein, Nina Lucchina, Camille Salcedo Watson, Michelle Cleary, Hannah Apsis, Adita Mutherjee, Michael Spitzer Rubenstein, Mark Hawley, Raul Gonzalez, Margaret O'Connor, Aaron Kampschmidt, Benjamin R. Hipple, Paris Sierra Haber, Hannah Diaz, Corey Kapik, Harry Lang, Claudia Mesa Quadra, Benjamin Henderson, Isabel Smith Hinckley, Dalton Labarge, Rebecca Kutzer Rice, Thomas Reno, Garrett Cuttrell, Amin Gadim, Joseph Rosenstein, Misut Gayol, Felipe Goncalves, Sierra Kuzava, Madeline Kloss, Wendy Rose, Joseph Tyree, Corey Fernandez, Caitlin Rogers, Jillian Rhodes, Andrew Stearns, Scott Levin, Leon Musakatel, Emma Gerbert, Kara Bloomgarden, Lauren Alpert, Junad Chaudhry, Adriana Garcia Ceja, Raul Ruiz, Wenyu Wang, Dexter Thompson Pomeroy, Vignesh Subramanian, Kumal Kotri, Jesus Madrid, Aiken Sezgin, Erem Uzaltin, Alice Shu, Eilif Odizmir, Kudzanai Tamuka Desvario, Kyra Caldwell, Lashane King, Shazika Z. Ohia, Veer Patel, Jacob Coppola, Christian Daniel, Carolina Martez, Daniel Valela, Anupri Cooley, Caitlin Burke, Tarani Sharisunde, Christian Hyacinth, Charles Stam, Damian Finskezi Corbier, Andre Lazar, Joseph Artuso, Michael Waintick, Thomas Jesse Timberlake, Michael Kahn, Zachary Kaplan, Wesley Yip, Shayla Richards, Rihambra Rihamchurut, Chaithunya Medichia, Milesh Patel, Cornelius Fitzpatrick, Pedro Sagasir Rodriguez, Adam Kirbitz, Madeline Jensen, Zoe Hilbert, Rebecca Chan, Emilia Monell, Michael Hannon, Victoria Jackson Hannon, Robert Matthew Powell, Megan Fauci, Linda Frazier, Kimberly Azelfer, Eric Nikumana, Simone Ironshell, Hualing Zhao, Arthur Tosi, Brianna Ramirez, Jenny Schiff, Cornelia Branfield Harvey, Megan Dillinger, Melissa Schaefer, Jasmine Fuller, Chloe Horsham, Ashley Williams, Maura Cunningham, David Zhu,
Chris Mankit Chung, Andrea Mui, Diane Wang, Jennifer Ong, Angela Wang, Michelle Wang, Elaine Wang, Caitlin Dean, Nicole Goldhaber, George Karchevsky, Jeffrey Adams, Su Jung Lee, Su Yun Lim, So Yoon Kim, Junho Kang, Rami Levy, Gabrielle Berg, Ali Nicole Rubin, Irene Schulman, Luke Lee, Rebecca Kui, Yang Hu, Scott Liu, Min Jae Kwon, Won-suk Park, Jae Sung Kim, Jung-gun Oh, Charles Zhang, Alec Ewig, Joshua Robb, Shira Locharan, Kristen Nickel, Amanda Halleck, Stephanie De Silva, James Fleming, Lauren Potter, Elizabeth Marie Brooks, Marietta Fitzcharles, Gregory Rails, Victoria Ugarte, Caitlin Barrett, Sam Mysock, Tara Pesci, Michael Korish, Adam Greenberg, Tanya Braun, Ye-Jung Farabili, Elizabeth Wicks, Nora Dooley, Joan Bilms, Megan Gallivan, Michael Mazzulo, Nicholas Faber, Kalila Hoggard, Francois Anderson, Nina Torres, Joe Glasheen, Ruth Scher, Ariel Schopp, Joseph Schwartz, Jeremy Lehman, Herbert Thornhill, Daniel Rodriguez, Maria Quincy, Sareem Park, Molly McGowan, Elizabeth Feudel, Natasha Terhorst, Audrey Baker, Ashlyn Yar, Marissa Schultz, Kayla Leckler, Jessica Racunza, Elliot Greco, Nicholas Miaris, Jonathan Huggins, Jason Railsberg, Perry Hampilos, Stephen Francis Rivera, Yusuf Ahmad, Julia Palowski, Todd Nelson, John Oxenreiter, Mark Gerbeck, Thomas Odom, Dylan Cutlier, Daniel Schwartz, Caroline Constable, Alicia Morales, Alexandra Pitts, Candace Henry, Christina Lambiosi, Stephanie Meislin, Amina McKenzie, Rachel Essman, Louisa Levy, Morgan Fletcher, Hossein Naji, Thomas Hill, Adina Gurma, Ashley Marie Kummerlow, Aisha Konate, Charles Gillihan, Berkeley Todd, Isabel Vanderbrook, Jessica Polk, Francis Hennepin Hardy, Louisa Marie Mink, Stephanie Nye, Mary Claire Nemeth, Mackenzie Largay, Kalisha Hollis,
Olivia Jackson, Lacey Gleason, Sarah Engel, Kenneth Durrell, Patrick Blute, Catherine Borowick, Rohan Jatwani, Irina Quadra, Brandon Storm, Joanna Phillips, Maureen Stamola, Laura Lee, Daniel Birdman, Shalisa Cumberbatch, Jordan Bogan, Yubia Alcazar, Flavio Medina, Gabriel Castillo, Ilya Wilson, Elisa Tsukiyama, Linda Boama Wiafi, Brianna Wong, Elinel Amansar Lopez, Emily Kwong, Laura Dolabella, Christine Choi, Laura Mills, Yun Hyung Lim, Mark Yanwai Sim, Ariel Marks, Abdullah Jain, Amanda Pickering, Lila Neiswanger, Siddharth Nair, Moses Nakamura, Krupa Harishankar, Andrea Lopez, Diana Levy, Ashley Min, Nicholas Phillips, Adam Akant, Holly Dykstra, Nida Vidutis, Nina Kim, Brian Lewis, Sean Tanaka, Jonah Nanwu, Tony Ma, Susan Fan, Henry Ring, James Rothmel, Lydia Catherine Newland, Emma Spencer, Sophia Pacheco Forres, Jordan Hollersmith, Gautam Rao, James Leung, Henry Zong, Daniel Leong, Alexandra Fairweather, Artan John Belai, Caitlin Elizabeth Biello, Shur Xiao Chung, Amanda Schiff, Marion Vlahos, David Schwartz, Sarah Salzbank, Ryan Marcus, Jennifer Shen, Sonal Malya, Valerie Pinkerton, Jason Alford, Raphael Krichevsky, Jacob Marks Rice, Zoe Sandstead, Emma Manson, Joseph Morano, Denise Yu, Aaron Flynn, Denisha Bacchus, Helena Gubramariam, Caroline Corley, Jessica Dale, David Lynch, Michael Enciso, William Fink, Sean Leahy, Andrea Gillis, Jade Marie Noble, Christine Wang, Chimo Nadi, Ilya Belopolsky, Jin Chen, Jaha Jong, Sheldon Kwok, Michael Sugarman, Jordan Blake Lord, Anna Kellner, Noel Bodick, Daniel Carpenter Gold, Moyang Lee, Miriam Akeju, Bethany Simard, Catherine Z, Catherine Hughes, Devin Welsh, Finola Alexander, Derek Delisle, Michelle Rosales, Belle Yan, Sydney Rachel Clark,
Shane Strumwasser, Carolyn Costa, Aaron Savan, Frima Vinikov, Abby Vandersall, Michael Gartner, Andrew Michael D'Antonio, Jonathan Wong, Jason Sun, Mpo Brown, Jessica Eddy, Ribka Getocho, Isaiah Cooper, Ann Gabriel, Michaela Morales, Heather McCarrick, Jelani Harvey, Reina Samad, Victoria Fox, Jody Lowe, Kevin Lester, Kyle Gilchrist, Jonathan Weibel, Remy Zakin, Joshua Maislin, Alexander Bedrosian, Leanne McCurdy, Boris Vasilev, Eleanor Westphalen Lumatri, Allison Shea, Emily Ahn, Milcayades Fernandez, Angelica Durone, Sarah Duncan, Lisa Weingarten, Daniel Gucci, Megan Sweat, Veronica Hilton, Paul Anderson, Jennifer Baker, Rachel Polsky, Anna Cooperberg, Michelle Labard Klein, Julia Bess Hochberg, Daniel Brown, Matthew Buckley, Paul Shao, Pierre Gergis, Nicholas Tyler Browse, Benjamin Krusling, Matthew Stephen Wilder, Antoinette Allen, Claire Liu, Livia Huang, Jillian Gottlieb, James Tyson, Sonul Bothra, Anjum Bothra, Tita Chumchayo, Isabel Hager Johnson, Stephanie Patterson, Kimberly Rubin, Emma Avdujic, Sarah Karinju, Ava Hess, Zachary Dykewald, Jacob Smith, Jeremy Fow, Kristen Soden, Shane Shelby, Gilbert Choi, Asel Najib, Nedia Sariamed, Catherine Liang, Paul Wang, Justin Heck, Gary Brownell, Adam Benke, Kyle Cook, Brian Barwick, Michael Loya, David Plotkin, Allison Werner, Marisa Corneo, Andre Rivi, Paul Anthony Arias, Dane Cook, Andrew Buchanan, Kyle Merber, John O'Laughlin, Charles Lopresto, Mark Anthony Gagliati, Lauren Harold, Samuel Draxler, Caitlin Burke, Elizabeth Cantor, Genevieve Jacobson, Emily Shea, Molly Gordon, Ella Muggan, Michael Smith, Zachary Kornberg, Rebecca Fine, Catherine Bryn, Max Cassinar Ehrman, Cody Zupnik, Sean Brukeem, Ian Simon, Richard Lenz, George Pitsokios, Catherine Slowick,
David Pazko, William Thomas Persifka, Mara Tofik, Alisa Goldberg, Laura Erstad, Joseph Daly, Alexandra Brown, Clara Potter, Pauline Baudon, Marshall Thomas, Adela Yowitz, David Solomon, Opeyemi Omajola, George Campagnon, Evan Patrick Johnston, Mary Shorey, Kayla Daly, Alexandra Lotero, Brenda Patricia Salinas, Nicholas Baker, Philip Perot, Rayhan Momin, Gabrielle Ho, Jasmine Little, Julia Diao, Brian Donahoe, Noah Brennan Sawyer, Thomas Bettridge, Samuel Shuby, Ryan Rooney, Sophie Glockler, Christina Maria Ramos, Caitlin Anderson, Gabrielle Kerr, Dominique Nieves, Chinyere Okunji, John Bonacor, Scott Limbacher, Simon Rimala, Olivia Burke, Hannah Willens, Diego Arango, Matthew Capitola, Josefina Freeney, Adriana DeVries, Desiree Scherf, Bradley Kuklis, Celine Pashulis, Lawrence Stanley Gaiman, Henri Vartanov, Bart Piela, Eliza Matake, Usalia Goldberg, Valerian Sikwashvili, Chloe Ann Campbell, Issa Masse, Brendan Doyle, Matthew Allen Johnson, Stephen Iggy, Christopher Crockett, Ashley Larison, Jamin Balu, Alexander Adler, Nana Kofi Kwachi, Sarah Bolton Druckenmiller, Kristen Simmons, Nathaniel Saul Dickey White, Matthew Siegfried, John Serletto, Daniel Robert Flicker, Stephen Chan, Alexander Cornish, Rowan Buchanan, Joseph Casara, Charles Lubick, Patrick McGuire, Noah Pryor, Adriana Varisco, Casey Stockstill, Cindy Law, Wendon Lee, Fernando Mancias, Jessica May, Christopher Marconi, Syed Rahman, Itai Orr, Eric Kogut, Jennifer Nerby, Elizabeth Monroe, Jacqueline Smith, Alexandra Davitt, Kimberly Kirschenbaum, Arabella Oz, John Nordine, Sarah Nosaka, Deborah Feng, Yin Yin Liu, Catherine Greenman, Amber Tunnel, George Haynes, Amna Ahmed, Priya Gandhi, Duyugu Yilmaz. Alexandra Cook. Lily Burns. Joy Jorgensen. Eliza Shapiro. Nathan Bailey. Catherine Crook. Jem Kent. Derek Nelson. Leonard Langenscheidt. Julian Reichers. Eva Alba. Kendra Mendez.
Lena Charlton, David Ramirez, Margaret Q, Yuri Nartov, Jeffrey Candell, Elias Tallard Oliveira, Eyitemi Fregene, Tyra Walker, Anuka Laudat, Yinro Wang, Ruben Bloom, Dylan Murphy, Colleen Schaffer, Michelle Kwak, Linda Ma, Joy Lee, Ayrong Lee, Adore Kim, Ying Wang, Kyla Walser, Vincent Ning, Jiwoo Lee, Brian Jenkins, Natanya Field, Jennifer Leva, Alexa Petrelli, Celia Eddy, Tabitha Wood, Erica Weaver, Laura Valbrook, Kelly O'Reilly, Joseph Chervenak, Alexander Klapeke, Danica Damplo, Stephen Luban, Dupi Mercier, Valeria Safronova, Anna Barrick, Sarah Wald, Rachel Shannon Solomon, Adria Schulman Inc., Nicholas Pleasance, Kellen Zheng, Xue Yulin, Michi Adachi, Felicia Bishop, Mercy Emelike, Brandon Obulu, Catherine Ham, Peter Thompson, Keating McEwen, David Burke, Bianca Pasicani, Carlos Platas Martinez, Joanna Liu, James Wu, Napier Lopez, Daniel Spunberg, Shibani Mehta, Michael McGregor, Suyadi Tejeda, Stephanie Hart, Laura Bouchard, Alejandro Yinich, Elisol Perdomo, Alexander Boyce, Brian Bene, Toby Manders, Robert Garcia, Emlyn Reseratitz, Charlene Tetievsky, Jason Kruta, Catherine Du, Benjamin Barden, Peter William Day, Darling Jimenez, Adriana Hernandez, Natalie Sauceda, Irene Izaguirre Lopez, Abel Salgado, Zelda Thomas, Natasha Newman, Dominic Mann, Ariana Feinberg, Camilla Schalson, Stephanie Urberg, Gregory Prendergast, Juliet Conte, Aaron Glennon, Rebecca Victor, Philip Baumgart, Miguel Peralta, Andrew Wales, Angela Ruggiero Corliss, Sabine Schultz, Lakia Byers, Saburi Ahak, Chica Dike, Eric Santiago, Richard Quattrano, David Gibeon, Rui Song, Evan Kearney, Eric Mendoza, Emily Sellinger, Madeline Lowe, Sylvia Corey, Martin Wilner, Jonathan Catiray,
Dominic Jones, Zoraida Diaz, Erin Marino, Samuel Preston, Jindai Joseph, Leslie Scott, Betsy Feldman, Leah Polak, Donald Miller, Nicola Villalobos, Dilly Wang, Corey Norjadli, Angus Armstrong, Talia DeGram, Harsh Namir, Rachel Valinsky, Catherine Balkowski, Joseph Napoli, Jonathan Orthwine, Pablo Romo, Logan Gunselman, Tyler Chukwu, Jared Frieder, Elizabeth Kahn, Alexander Versavsky, Lara Manemene, Diana Garcia, Irene Alvarado, Vanessa De Jesus, Usmana Uday, Roxana Reyes Seri, Luisa Harstad, Garithi Calvatani, Jordan Hauson, Shiva Yagani, Marissa Rama, Philip Crandall, Alexander Clue, Sergio Baranza Ingstrom, Jessica Xavier de la Valle de Bone, Alexandra Afifi, Noreen Atamian, Elizabeth Naden, Thomas Oliveira, Patrick Fernback, Benjamin Winthrop, Matias del Castillo, Michael Vitrano, Natasha Avanasius, Adrian Montufar, Holly Druckman, Lindsay Joyce White, Trenton Barnes, Ellie Wald, Yasmina Rayani, Carlos Blanco, Christina Forrester, Philip Verma, Kia Walton, Isabel Ricker, Cynthia Go, Carly Blank, Paige Endelsley, Nicole Kamra, Alexander Smith, Dorothy Baker, Lauren Argenti, Michael Rawlings, Andrea Danielle Rosengarten, Elizabeth Lee, Tony Cyprian Matthews, Kate Staker Ginsburg, Liza Plesky, Erin Stammer, Elaine Bainham, Noah Buckley, Danielle Corain, James Stephen Common, Elizabeth Hauser, Ashley Chin, Yenna June, Brian Valero, Jonathan Eisen, Zachary Epstein, Anthony Potter, William Rumkey, Andrew Lampkin, Patrick Lowry, Mark Heil, Harrison Slutsky, Alexander Uricchio, Bruno Salami, Elena Hicks, Jeremy Grossman Green, Jessica Greenberg, Raquel Villagra, Nicole Lopez, Mark Browning, Wardon Songnok, Thomas Humphreys, Christina Delolio, Miyako Yerrick, Bankoli Aluko, Christopher Groth, Thomas Kane, Peter Holtz Graby, Caroline Matos Montes, Nicholas Papas, Neil Schutster, Nicholas Mistretta,
Kurt Williams, Evan Miller, Ross Morand, Jerry Bell, Christopher Parouche, Shuo Zhang, Tianxi Chen, Zhe He, Ding Ding, Fan Wu, Chu Rei Wang, Kevin Sun, Shendrin Su, Kevin Lenahan, Samuel Cecil, Kyle Stupai, Ryan Hazlitt, Robert Hoschild, David Chow, Rafael Lopez, William Clonch, Alice Yuen Zhang, John Suong, Ryan Matty Smith, Chris Vandenberg, Michael Murphy, Michael Stevens, Megan Carley, Paul Havas, Carson Christus, Taylor Gattinella, Amanda Goodhart, Benjamin Popek, Ryan Sutherland, Bruno Esken, Robert Eichmans, Kevin Zai, Shane Tutus, Mark Robinson, Josephine Ruiz Healy, Meredith Perry, Sarah Amber McNeil, Owen Frazier, Kulasi Huggins, Anthony Maddox, Craig Hamilton, Linda Kwan, Robin Lee, Ariana Sanders, Ariel Mojer, William Major, Vasily Hastridis, Jonathan Bubar, Maxwell Banazak, Jason Bayon,
the class of 2012. As a special tribute to the class of 2012, the Empire State Building will glow Columbia blue this Wednesday. Please join us immediately following the ceremony in Hamilton lawn under the tent, and we'll close the Class Day exercises with the singing of Sans Souci and Roar Lion Roar. The lyrics are in your program.
What if tomorrow brings sorrow, anything other than joy?
What if to be wintry chill, rainstorm, or summer's thrill?
Tomorrow's the future, still this is today. Tomorrow's the future, still this is today. Ba 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 ba. Dum dum dum. When the bold teams of old wore the blue and white, deeds of fame made their name here at Old Columbia. Nowadays we can praise fighting teams again. Hear the lion roar his pride, while the men of Morningside follow the blue and white to victory roar. The lion roar and wake the echoes of the Hudson Valley. Hard on to victory evermore, while the sons of Knickerbocker rally round Columbia, Columbia, shouting her name forever. Roar, lion roar, from alma mater on the Hudson shore.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you our newest alumni, Columbia College class of 2012.